Why would you do this to me?
Yeah.
This is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Why was I suffer this embarrassment? Using is embarrassing. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was even in the way of it because you then have to sit up straight and just congratulate the winners. Well done. Well guys. Let me tell you, okay?
The sapiosexual platter.
Do you ever find yourself in awe of people who seem to embody a lot of confidence? They have a bounce in their step and a certain air about them. And if you're like me or like Belle, you sometimes wondered, why can't I be like that? Why can't I walk into a room and just take over? On today's episode, we're going to be discussing confidence, belief, and faith. My name is Shatani Somalagai.
And I am Belle Saabo Ame.
Welcome to the sapiosexual platter.
Another week.
Woo!
I know.
We made it.
Do you know what is so exciting about just this topic?
Yeah.
I think it's the audacity.
The audacity.
The audacity and the confidence that we have to actually just create a podcast.
I love that.
And beyond that, today is extra special because this is our 30th episode.
Oh my gosh!
I
know! Yay! Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. My drink is so far, but I'll get it.
All right. Cheers to the 30th
Cheers.
episode. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Thank you, our producer.
Yeah.
And our fellow sapiosexuals, guys. We've done it and we couldn't have done it without you. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And a big shout out to the man behind the camera.
Our producer, Gotabo.
This tastes good. Well done.
Oh, thank you. So yes, confidence, right? It sometimes feels that it's an inherent ability.
Yeah.
Like some people are just born with it and they maneuver through life with, like you said, the audacity to do certain things.
Yes.
And it seems like no matter what, they still rise up and walk in a certain way, move in a certain way.
Yes.
And first of all, let's discuss, is it even necessary to have confidence? Like, what do you think is so important about confidence?
What is even confidence?
What's confidence? Oh my gosh.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is confidence? It's a tough one. I like what you said about the people who just walk with like an air about them, spring in their step. And it's like confidence is this invisible thing that we can spot.
Yeah.
But it's so complex to define.
Yeah.
And even to just create a framework of how to even try to cultivate it in other people. Because I do believe that it is a talent and other people are born with it. Yeah. I think some people come from a lineage of people who are talented in confidence. You know those people that can just bullshit you. I'm looking at one. She knows why she's laughing. She knows. I think it's innate. I look at you and I'm like, it's innate. You're inborn with it. But obviously, like any talent, it's like singing, like any skill, you always have to cultivate it. But in terms of just defining what self-confidence is, I would say it's the ability to have a level of trust in your knowledge, in your talents, in your skills, and who you are, just outside of even these talents and skills, just having a trust in yourself, a belief in yourself. What would you say confidence is?
I agree with that definition. I guess I can just take it further to say why it's important.
Yeah.
Because I do think that people who are confident are magnetic.
Yeah.
And because you're magnetic, you're persuasive.
Yeah.
And because you're persuasive, you can get a lot of things done.
Yeah.
I think most people prefer to follow a confident leader.
Yeah.
They prefer to follow somebody who has that confidence, even if whatever they're doing is, on the questionable side.
Yeah.
Morality, whatever. You think about like gangs. I would like to think like gang leaders are rather confident, right? So it's obviously an essential element to leadership. It's an essential element for execution of anything, especially if you're going to have people involved. The absence of confidence, I would argue, equals an unsuccessful pursuit. So I think to just support your definition, it's that the ability to be confident, the ability to believe in yourself, and just so that you can accomplish or execute your vision.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. When you were speaking, what came to mind was the thought of, that just those girls who are not in the what you call it, conventional beauty.
Yes.
But they have so much confidence. Or they're just some women who would be like very overweight, and by societal definition, they don't fit that
box,
conventional, box of like what it is to be like a very pretty girl or like a high value woman. And they just enter the room and own the room, and they're confident.
Yeah.
They take up space, and you would find that the hottest man or the richest man,
it's just drawn to them.
It's just drawn to them.
Man,
and
I tap into that anointing.
And I tap into it too. And you're just like, I don't even know how this girl does it. And it's just like, wow, it is that confidence that you speak about, where it inspires so much, like just outside of leadership, even just in a relationship context. Somebody who has confidence, like if you date somebody who has confidence and who doesn't have confidence, the experience is very different. One is empowering, it's positive, and then the other could possibly just be draining.
It's draining. That's literally the word I was about to use to say, I guess the opposite of confident is maybe insecure. I think there's broad opposites, but one of them is insecure. And in the relationship context, if you're dating somebody who isn't confident, that means they're insecure. And like you said, that's a very draining, exhausting experience, and I don't think there's anything you can do for them because it's such an internal thing. Nothing you do externally can heal or make them happy or satisfied with whatever you bring to the table.
Okay, that's interesting. I have a question for you. And my question is, what is the internal steps that somebody can take to boost their confidence? But before we get there, what would you say when you look at the human being is the seed of confidence?
I think, for me, I can only speak for myself, right? I think confidence very much is related to source. And so I can say that my confidence comes from a belief in God and my understanding of God and how we're all equal in the sight of God and we're all an expression of the divine and that nobody is higher or lower than the other. And so for me, from a young age, I've always understood that. I gave my life to Christ when I was 6, and just listening to what the pastors used to say about what it means to be a child of God, I was like, oh yeah, we got it, So I don't know where other people's source of confidence stems from, but for me, it's an inherent belief in the divine and the qualities or the characteristics that emanate from or are attached to a belief in the divine.
And what are those?
Everything is sorted. Everything is good. And because everything is good, you can't help but be happy. You know what I mean?
Girl, let's get real. Let's get real.
Really,
let's get real.
I know you're gonna do this.
That's the ideal situation.
That was the line she was about.
But even you, the child of God, even you, the child of God, find yourself in the trenches at times.
Of course.
And that confidence just goes
down.
Yeah?
Yeah. For sure.
What happens in those moments in your reality?
I have to remind myself. Life gets me to a place of reminding myself about the source. No, we're not gonna do this. Belle likes doing this, guys.
No, you know what? I like doing this because for the person at home, even for myself,
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in God. I trust in God. I could, write a whole sermon about my faith in God.
Yes, sister.
But we can't take away from the fact that we are human beings living out this experience. And it is complex.
100%.
It is exhausting at times.
Can say that again.
We're at a place where people are extremely tired. And people go to church every single Sunday. They read the Bible. I mean, we're one of those people who are just like deep in God, deep in the spirit. But life comes with its challenges that just tend to create a stain in your heart or create a stain in your self-esteem or your confidence.
Shake your confidence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in those moments that you're shaken, yes, we all know the right thing to do. And I believe that you, the person who's watching, you know what you need to do. We all know. We have an inner knowing. But notwithstanding, the experience when your confidence has plateaued is very challenging. And it's good to sit here and give advice as we would. But then it's also nice to just be real. It's also nice to be real.
Let's get real. Let's get into it.
Let's get real. So, Miss Shate,
Yes.
let us know, like, when you're in the trenches, what does that look like and what actually happens and what plays out? And notwithstanding that you have to get to a point where you remind yourself, but it's never such a clear-cut road.
Never.
Okay?
No, it's never.
Yeah.
I'll definitely admit that. And I often have moments where my confidence is shaken because as humans, we have this habit of relying on our past successes and believing that our past successes are equal or guarantee a successful present, a successful future. And for me, that's how usually my confidence gets shaken.
Yeah.
Last year I did this and I won.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to do this, and sometimes maybe I don't put in as much effort as I might have to, or I do and I'm surprised because, the reaction or the response from the people who are receiving what I'm receiving isn't what I expect it to be.
Yeah.
If we're being real, I can give an example. Last year, I ran for Law Society chairperson.
We laugh.
And I honestly thought it was in the bag because I feel like if anybody's watching me, they can see my heart for the law. They can see my heart for developing.
Yeah.
They can see my heart for leadership in that arena.
Yeah.
I did my best.
You were so confident.
Thank you, right? I did my best. And, then elections came about and I lost. And it was posted. If you go on Facebook right now, it's there. And it shows the tally of the number of, how many people voted for me and vis-a-vis the winner, And I won't lie, that was a huge, pain point for me.
Yeah.
I called you.
Yeah, I remember.
I called my friends and I cried and was like, oh my God, I lost. And, and in that moment, it had to be okay, are you going to define yourself by this loss? Who are you really?
Yeah.
And that's when I say, going back to...
Before you get to going back to, sorry to cut you short, I just want to know, what was the conversation with God when you were in that energy?
Obviously,
Before
anger.
you remember, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say to God?
Why would you do this to me?
Yeah.
This is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Why was I suffer this embarrassment? Losing is embarrassing. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was even in the way of it because you then have to sit up straight and just congratulate the winners. Well done. Well guys, let me tell you, okay? So that was really embarrassing. And especially if you know my personality and my character, you must know that it hit hard for me. And then obviously you start asking okay, do people not see me? Am I doing good enough? Yeah, it wasn't a great experience.
Yeah.
In that moment when I recall, that wasn't a high moment for me. And then life had to go on. There were other activities for the day. And I had to make a decision. Am I going to go to the room and cry the whole day? Or am I just going to dust myself up and then go and laugh at everybody? Like nothing just happened to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Notwithstanding my feelings in the moment, to just go in. There were other activities and I had to, I chose to participate.
Yeah.
But it was a knock on my confidence. For real, And it didn't even help because family members and friends, I remember in the family group, my mom was like, yeah, like next time. I was like, okay, mom, this is not helping, right?
Yeah.
And everybody starts preaching, you're destined for, this must mean you're destined for greater things. I'm like, yeah, but can I win in the journey to the greater things? Why must I lose on the way to that, So, yeah. Every day, even as an attorney, you lose cases. So this is something that I interact with on a daily basis. The idea of maintaining confidence is it's not a thing that I come across every now and then, like, oh, once a year my confidence is challenged. To the contrary, my confidence is challenged on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I
love that because the download that I got listening to it was that the true measure of confidence is not based on when things are good, but really when you are in the trenches and you get that knock that you talk about. It's like that is the challenge to really showcase if you are confident or not. When you lose and you have to go back to the people and smile and be like, congratulations.
Well done.
Well done. I think that is a true display of confidence. And I think that's a very powerful share because it's testament to who you are and your level of confidence. And I liked what you said about how your confidence is rooted in the divine, because that for me feels very freeing. It takes away a lot of anxiety, it takes away a lot of responsibility that we tend to play a lot of onus on ourselves with a lot of things. So I think that is very powerful. In addition to that, I would have said that the seed of confidence and the root of confidence is self-image. Like how you perceive yourself. And how you perceive yourself is influenced by exactly what you said. It's influenced by your encounter with the divine or the maker. To say, society can tell me I'm not literate enough. Society can tell me I'm not qualified enough. Society can tell me I'm not beautiful enough. But I have a trust in my maker that when they made me, they looked at me and said, it is good. So if there's diversity that we have in the world and the 8 billion people that are there, in these 8 billion people, I'm one of one. I'm one of me. So definitely I have a synergy of different virtues or different attributes or different skills or even just physical makeup that is sufficient to carry out whatever I'm here to carry out. So I think it's very confidence inducing, and looking at yourself in a healthy way is a way to just also honor God, to say, I trust in you, God, and I trust in what you've made of me, that it is enough because you know everything. So I find that very freeing because it just takes away the responsibility from you. Like when you're just in the trenches and everything is just so hard, you're like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't need to
know.
dissect, understand, like you cry, you sit in it and you're like, yo, this is nonsense. But you come out of it and you're like, okay, who do I see myself as, and who do you say I am as, God? Because no matter what, when I was in, no matter what, if you don't have a healthy self-image, I don't think your confidence can get there. Because I used to have what you call false confidence. I thought I was the most confident person. Yeah.
False confidence.
False confidence, because society would tend to look at people who present a certain way as confidence. So if you're out there and if you speak a lot,
Mama Slay,
you know what? Everybody just sort of projects the confidence onto you. And if you come in and you say, I'm actually quite shy, everybody I get anxiety, people get shocked because to them, confident people are the loudest in the room, the boldest in the room. So because of that, I went through life and checking my confidence and not realizing that I have to build it. And then when I went to university in England, and it was a jump because I was coming from rural Botswana, 17-year-old, and you go into this, mega cities, so much development, moving from rural Botswana to immense development like that, and just seeing people from different places, I was able to assess myself and say like, oh my God, you present as confident, but your self-image is distorted because the way that I perceived my blackness at the time in relation to other races wasn't healthy. The way that I perceived ultimately then after that my intelligence in relation to other things, I felt like other races were better than I. So notwithstanding that when I came from Botswana, I was so intelligent academically. When I got that side, I couldn't perform with the same academic brilliance that I would have when I am just around people who look like me and sound like me. Because with the people that look like me and sound like me, I'm able to just live out that confidence and it's not challenged. And then now when I move to varsity, gaps in my confidence is shown because there's a distortion in my self-image. So even if I can externally present a certain way, for as long as if that internal makeup and the perception I had of myself and in relation to the world, and I was now interacting with people from different places, it was just now fully displayed to me that you don't have confidence like that.
Yet. Yeah.
So it just evoked a sense of wanting to work on my self-image. And particularly, I draw an example to the Nigerians. They are the ones who made me see it. Like, they come in and they feel like I'm the most smartest and the most intelligent.
Yeah, they fill a room, that's for
you
sure.
know? And I was just like, wow. The way that they're so healthy in their image and they're confident about themselves is something that I looked at myself and I'm like, no matter how much I tried with my background, if I didn't have my background go unchecked, I can never get there. Even I could see that I had more skills and capacity than some of them. I still, in terms of results, didn't perform as good as them.
Yeah.
And then it now brings me to like just looking at the African person's confidence in terms of just the interplay and relating to the rest of the world. And realizing that confidence in Africa is different according to how systematic racism affected us or just the history that we're taught is a part of us.
Or our education system as is.
Yes.
Yeah. Vis-a-vis social media, because social media is a form of education.
Yes.
Whether we like to accept it or not. Our children are being, or our people are being educated by what they see on social media, by what they see on TV.
Yeah. Realizing that in Southern Africa, we had the effects of apartheid, and therefore the black person in Southern Africa has a different level of awareness of themselves and their self-image and their confidence in relation to the Western African ones who didn't necessarily experience apartheid in that realm.
Way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it just opened my eye to the intricate nature of just confidence. And it brings me now to summarize this conversation, to just give the audience 5 tools of how to cultivate confidence. What would you say would be the first thing to do when you're trying to boost and build that confidence that can be acquired as a skill if you don't have it as a natural talent?
Like I said, I think the starting point would be your relationship with the divine.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in Jesus, Badimo, Allah, what I know for sure is that a relationship, a connection with the divine does a lot of healing and changes your perspective about, or transform your perspective about who you are.
Yeah.
When you understand your lineage, where you come from, who you are as a human being. So for me, that's step number 1. Let's identify or check where we stand in our relationship with the divine, because if you're searching for confidence externally, you'll never find it.
Yeah.
But I think the starting point would be a relationship, an intact relationship with the divine.
Agreed.
That's step 1 for me.
Yeah. Building on to what you just said would be the ability to read the season. confidence is also seasonal. There are times where you are not in your best element and you have to like step back a bit and literally just know where you are energetically, where you are mentally, and that it's a cycle. And if you are not in your most confident season, how to approach it and how to behave. So I think reading the room, because sometimes we cultivate confidence when it's not the season to cultivate confidence.
Or we step into certain roles, positions.
Yeah.
You're on camera, but you know that internally you're going through a certain season.
Yeah.
Challenges in your life.
Yes.
And because people are energetical beings and because confidence is really energetical.
Yeah.
The people can tell, oh.
Yeah.
And that's when they don't connect with your posts or connect with your speeches, connect with whatever you're doing because you're doing it from that place where you haven't quite firmed up on your confidence.
Exactly.
I love that.
And what happens with that is then you get more of a knock on your confidence because you are wanting to present a certain way when it's not the season for that. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, why are people not connecting? Why they're not there? And it's just like you're causing more damage to yourself because you're unable to read the season that you're in.
That's powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
Number 3 is a muscle. Right? So there's obviously the intangibles. We talked about the divine.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the times the divine is kind of meeting you halfway.
Yeah.
But there is a work that you do need to do.
Yeah.
And it's definitely working on what it is for you specifically that you need to do consistently and repetitively.
Yeah.
That people are able to present a certain way because they've done something so many times that it's almost second nature.
Yeah.
And so yesterday we were actually reading the story of David and Goliath. And, at the point where David raises his hand and says, I can kill Goliath.
Yeah.
If you read the scripture closely, you realize that David's confidence didn't just come from his relationship with the divine. It was the fact that he had once killed a lion and a bear.
Yeah.
So it's like based on my memory and my practice of being able to kill something of the magnitude of the giant of what Goliath was, I'm sure that if I try, I might just win. So it means that you don't just it's, you'll be ill-advised, and we'll be ill-advising you if we say just rely on God. You do need to practice whatever it is that you are whatever it is that you're thinking to do, what that you want to do, whether it's speaking, whether it's work, whatever it is. If there's no practice behind it, then the way that you approach it is different. And the less confidence, like we say, the less ability to execute in the highest way. So I would say like build that muscle in whatever area.
I would say then the 4th one would be to work on one's health and appearance. Yes, I think, I know we're visual beings, so people tend to interact with how you present. And I think also when you work on how you present yourself to people, it boosts your self-esteem a little bit. Even if you're not in your best shape, your skin is not your clearest, the fact that you made an effort, you had a healthy meal, you had an exercise, definitely boosts your self-esteem and your confidence. And what would you say the final one is?
Don't crumble in the face of tests. Because they will come, and the tests come to strengthen your confidence. So if you could just reframe the test and the challenge as, oh, this is an opportunity to go a level higher in my confidence, as opposed to what we normally do, which is we go in a corner and we give up. To say, oh, okay, this is an opportunity to rise up. So let me rise up. Like I said at the beginning, go back and remember who the divine says you are. And when you have that remembrance, you win, and equals more confidence, which is what today's episode is about.
Powerful.
Yeah.
So guys, we're all on this journey really wanting to build success and have a clarity about ourselves. And we hope that in this episode today, we have served you the most intelligent conversation that would catapult you to the greatest heights of your success, because you are going to come out of this conversation definitely having a lot of confidence. We send you the energy. I am Belse Abo Ame.
I am Shatani Somalagai.
And you just watched the
Sapiosexual
Sapiosexual Platter.